actually one of the first emails that I received in iClick. I keep it till today because it just says that kids are crying when it's time to go home.
Oh, my God. Wow.
Like,
such moving, yeah.
Wow.
Going away crying, going from home, from treatment, right? From oncology treatment.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
משחוק העתיד עם דוקטור חנן גזית. איך משחקי וידאו שיצאו ממסך המחשב ואנשים עם מיינדסט משחקי משפיעים על חיינו ומשנים את עולמנו.
ברוכים הבאים, אני חנן גזית. עם הסיפורים, החידושים הטכנולוגיים והטרנדים החמים שאתם חייבים לדעת כשגיימינג, מדעי המוח, התקשורת, חוכמת ההמונים, התרבות והספורט נפגשים. מוכנים? אנחנו מתחילים. Game on!
Hi and welcome to Gameful Heroes podcast, and today I'm hosting Ziv Lavee. He's a gamer in life and also in work, and he has been studying video games as his hobby. And I'm proud to say he's one of my colleagues and friends from DIGRA Israel, and DIGRA is Digital Game Research Association. So hi Ziv, what's up?
Hello Hanan, good to be here.
Yeah, good to have you with us today. You know, we talked about Gameful Heroes and about the fact that video games came out of the screen and become like a norm, like a normal stuff, and they impact, they influence our life, and also there are people with gameful mindset that impact our daily life and also try to change the world. I guess we should start with say a few things about yourself, introduce yourself, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, well, just to sum up our history, basically I started while you were instructing me about gamification, and I did a research with you about leadership in World of Warcraft. Mm-hmm. Today I work as a software testing, and for the past 3.5 years I've been working in a company that actually does games for restaurants. And for small businesses, a company called iy-click, which basically gives a gameful experience for children in these locations, you know, while waiting in line for the food, or one of the more touching scenarios is waiting for treatments in hospitals and stuff.
Wow, so
they can have some good time.
So working at iy-click, you manifest your QA skills to make the experience more fluent, as we say, and the technology itself serve from one side businesses like restaurants and special arena, and on the other side also for good deed like helping children with cancer, I believe, to as they wait for the line, or to reduce the tension and to bring some fun to the experience.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. By putting some games that can increase in level of challenges, and we give them some, you know, like small victories while they battle something a lot more serious. And of course, the whole concept of what we used to think of games, or especially computer games, about being this potato that sits in the basement, now comes out as something that moves people, like the musical stairs that I've seen in your lectures, or the devices that iy-click produces, or the Kinect, or the Wii, or the ball that your previous interviewer presented. We suddenly see games coming out and become like supplemental, or actually
woven within our life.
Actual movement.
Woven within our life. We have a saying in Hebrew, mechalchel or mashpia, but in English it's like a woven. It's like you can't separate the gameful mindset or the gaming from the real life. This reminds me just a call that came out of DIGRA 2019, conference call for papers. DIGRA is the Digital Game Research Association, and the call is for the conference in Japan, in Tokyo, which will be held in August 2019. Maybe we'll go together. The call is, it's game, play, and the emerging Ludo mix. So it's a year before the Olympics 2020, so maybe it's a good time to come before the big masses will pour into Japan, Tokyo.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just that it becomes like, I think we can look at like 10 years ago, and only then you started to see people actually playing games constantly and everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's just like emerged, and I haven't been following in the Olympics, but I wonder if they have have they implemented any games any computer games in the Olympics?
Yeah, this is a big question about e-sport and gaming coming to as an Olympic branch. I'm not sure it will it will go in this trend or direction. I think the Olympic Games, I talked about it in a few TV shows, I think the Olympic Games need the e-sport more than the e-sport need the Olympics. But this is another issue. Maybe we'll talk about it in a different special chapter about e-sport. But now I want to ask you, what is gaming to you in one sentence? What do you think of gaming in one sentence, on one word?
Well, obviously it's a big question, and sometimes you would have to go through a very complex answer, but I would actually summarize it as experiencing life, which can be either like I get to experience scenarios which I cannot do in my real life at the moment or at all. For example, being a pilot. I recently started a simulator called BMS, and I get to experience like being a pilot if the simulator is close enough to the actual sensation of how to pilot a plane. Obviously, you can never reach it completely, but there are people playing it that have almost an entire cockpit with them just for this game.
Yeah,
I get to experience imaginary lives, like in a fantasy game, or playing a type of person that usually wouldn't want to be. You get to play policeman, you get to play a detective, you get to play a criminal. You get to decide the fate of people, which normally we wouldn't want to have this responsibility, especially when we're just trying it out. I mean, imagine somebody says, "Hey, listen, I want to try out being a prime minister of the country." Like, yeah, right. We're not going to give you the wheels for the country, but in games you can actually do that.
Yeah, in games actually, as you mentioned it, it's like a peacemaker. The game that you can take the step to be the Israeli leader or the Palestinian leader, and it's something that you can do. I called it, the augmented identity. Augmented, like there's augmented reality in which you can put, layers on the reality. So augmented identities can give you the possibility of trying to experience, as you say, experience life in very different, versatile ways. This is very interesting what you said. As we talked about the news this week, this is amazing what's going on. Really, we talked about the campaign of, the British Army just enroll a campaign, new recruitant saying the army needs you, and they are targeting gamers.
Yeah, there's different personas that normally would be considered like people who are separate themselves from society, like people who are very versed in themselves, or people who are very introvert. They have their own pace of life. People who are gamers that usually people think them about as being unsocial. But the interesting thing is that they target these specific personas, and it actually goes against what the military was from the beginning. The military was always about structure and hierarchy and the same and following rules and everybody. And something said, no, you know what? You're a gamer. We need your focus. You have an ability to sit for 4 hours looking at the same screen and doing the same thing sometimes, especially in games that require a lot of time, like MMOs. That people will just sit for four hours straight and just do the same task over and over and over. Well, other people who would sit in front of a screen, like looking at at radar readings, they would just go nuts.
Yeah, so it's like gaming in real life. But the army, war is not real life. This is the big difference. And I think they took a very good example from America's army, which was the best recruiting tool in the history of the U.S. Army. It is a game. I recall playing it a lot in 2002, 2003, 2004, in which you enroll as a Marine or as a U.S. soldier, and then you progress. The main goal was to recruited, and it was very successful, the publication.
So it's normal recruitment.
Normal recruitment by more than a half. It was like the best. This brings me to the question, is there really, as we say, a gameful mindset in which if you're a gamer, and if we say, like Marshall McLuhan said, the medium is the message, does game affect you and you affect the game in a way that if you are a gamer or if you are not, you are developing a gameful mindset, which is like you said, you have a grit, you have patience, you take life as a challenge, stick to your goals, you know. Can you add on that? It will be great to hear.
Yeah, of course. It's actually it sort of circles back to the original research that we did. That people experience leadership in places where normally, every time you would go in a social group, you always have the dominant person. But in games, suddenly you see that not the dominant, the person that comes out as the leader is not necessarily the dominant.
Yeah.
It's almost never the guild leader, which is like the clan or the group or the social network that represent this particular group.
It's an emergent phenomenon. Just if you said, okay, you are the leader, and then the team goes like in a raid, like in 70, 80, 100 people, the emergence of the real leaders will come, because if I'm shy and I'm more introvert, within the game, my ability will, the game itself is designed in that way, that my ability as leader will rise, right? This is like on the interplay between the game designers, the players.
Yeah, and they put it in a situation where you encounter a problem. It's not like follow the leader because he has the rank. It's follow the person that can solve the problem.
Yeah.
And I must admit, this recruitment style that targets people that are more, how should we say, more self-centered in some way, not in a bad way, but just they have more conscious of themselves. There was one of the ads that talked about compassion.
Yeah.
Compassion is decision-making.
Yeah.
So the army intentionally targets people that would exercise thinking, decision-making, that may not necessarily be based on what the orders say, but what the situation requests of them.
Yeah,
and that's going to be very interesting. It's like an army that is, the leadership is just guidance. It's not a decision making. Yeah,
they want to recruit the best, the best youngs in the country, and they're doing a good job in that way. The British Army in that way, that they are targeting the one that are more dedicated, and like it's not like a naive conception that if you're good at Call of Duty, you are a best rank gamer, you will be good in special forces. This is not the case, I think. I think it's more complicated in that sense that they want to really recruit the best one with the best skills. And as we see, there's a lot of skills, as you found in your research, social skills and cognitive skill and leadership skill that evolve within this game.
Yeah.
This kind of game.
And we'll see how it progresses, what the next, how the British Army would look in 5, 10, 15 years.
This brings me to the next news. Really interesting to hear what you say, because you were very involved with World of Warcraft at that time. Did you know that Amazon have its own gaming studio?
I have to admit I was not aware of it until you pointed this out, and I looked into it.
Yeah, so Amazon,
they are working on...
Amazon is working on a new MMO.
Yeah, and it seems like a very promising MMO in terms of trying opening the world of the player. At the moment, it's still in the early stages, but they are aiming for a concept which is very interesting, that you're playing what you want, and you're not necessarily limited by rules of nature. Like, you can play anything from a person that looks like a knight from the medieval area up to a person from the 18th century. Yeah. You can even play animals, which can be a very interesting concept. I have to admit I treat MMO in a very careful way or reserved way, because a lot of MMO provided very big promises. Yeah. And one at a time they failed. Like, they remained like a niche and continue to progress with a very limited amount of crowd, or they just couldn't keep up.
Just let me say to our listeners that are not acquainted with the term MMO, this is like massive multiplayer online game, which mean by massive then more than 100. It's not like Fortnite in the same island which you battle against each other. Battle Royale, this is MMO, which means that at the same time, how many people play World of Warcraft at the same time, in the same arena?
They divided by servers, but you can have a couple of thousand in each server.
A couple of thousand. I think that Amazon is inspiring, if I read correctly, to have like 10,000s of people playing together.
Yeah, World of Warcraft came in 2004. Back then, they could only support servers, I think, up to 5,000. But now, with internet progressing so fast, and we are able to transfer data and media to incredible speed, you can actually transfer a lot of it into the cloud.
So you will have your own life living online, and it will be addictive. It will be like more than 10,000 people play at the same time. Servers of Amazon will work very hard, but there's a technical challenge and also a gameful design, let's say game design challenge. And from my perspective, there's also ethical challenge ethical and regulation challenge. For example, do we afford everyone to play? Do we have a chance to contact and have conflict within the game between several nationalities? I don't know.
Yeah, it's. I think you can divide it into a couple of categories that are the major challenges in designing an MMO. First of all, you need to have your business plan. Whether you decide to have like a subscription method or have the person pay once and acquire currency within the game. What happens to the currency? There is a whole, I wouldn't say theory, but there is a whole methodology about how to get rid of currency in MMO, which constantly creates an inflation within the game. You have content, which is a major problem with many games, like Star Wars and Seas of the Sea, and even Destiny. You need to keep up and have content available for the players, and especially now when players have less patience, so to speak, to level their character, you need to have something for them for the end game. You need to have a compelling story. I've tried a game called Revelation Online, and the story wasn't engaging enough. I mean, a lot of people play it, a lot of people enjoy it. There is amazing PvP mechanics there, but the story didn't grab me. When I go into certain games, like Planescape Torment back then in the 90s, this story would just grab you, and you just wanted to know what happened in the next 5 minutes. In Warcraft, you felt it a lot. In Star Wars, in a story sense, it was a very good story. And of course, you need the user experience. I think what was it that they released a couple of months after Star Wars came out, and they worked for 3 years on it with amazing videos. And they showed that some characters get stuck in sitting position and just run around while the character is basically sitting on air.
This is a great issue, the storytelling and also the narrative, which bring me to something very interesting, Black Mirror on Netflix with Bandersnatch, the first gamified TV experience. What do you think about that? A bit about the story, about the decision-making within the story?
You heard about it.
Yeah, we don't do spoilers here. I promise not to do spoiler here, but listen to that. You're starting the movie, and then you have choices. What should I eat and drink for breakfast, for example? Should I take coffee or tea? So this is very simple, and then you have 10 seconds to decide. But then you come to moral decision to hurt someone, to hurt myself. I don't want to do any spoilers. So this brings up a lot of questions.
But just to put it in a simple term so people would understand, it's similar to how there was a game called actually how D&D worked, but back in the 90s there was a game called
Life is Strange.
The
game Life is Strange is very similar to that, in which you need to take...
okay.
Life is Strange.
I actually know the Clash of the Princes or whatever, where you have to do decision-making, and then you need to switch to a different page each time, and it would progress according to the decisions you made. Later on, we had the Telltale company, which gave an amazing series of games that, based on decision, sadly they collapsed for bad management. But it's very interesting to see if we're actually going to have TV shows like this. I don't really know how much a production is how much of production is possible. Like if you have like 45 minutes, I need to be prepared for, like, say, decisions that affect 10 minutes of the episode. So I would need about additional 40 minutes of filming just to include these optional decisions. And each person sees the decision that they decided, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's like a branch, a tree branch of decision. But it also brings a question of if we gamify TV experience and all the data is within the company, what does it say about us? If I'm in the game, for example, the best MMO, within the game, as a player, as a gamer, I accepting the fact that everything is recorded and my decisions are based on my morality, yes or no. Actually, there's a research saying that we are not coming as tabula rasa. Tabula rasa. We're not coming as tabula rasa. We have a kind of moral within us. But this is the game. I know that I can do, because it's fictional, I can do a lot of stuff which are non-moral, not acceptable in the society. But when I'm watching, I need to make decisions which are moral, and the company behind it, let's say Netflix, has my pattern and my decision making. Is it really what we want? Or we are approaching the day of Black Mirror in real life? This is the big question.
I guess it depends on how adventurous you are, so to speak. In Star Wars, you always had the decision of choosing the light or the dark side. Mm-hmm. In the game, in the single player games, it was usually affecting the story. In the MMO, they implemented it, but it was missing. Like, it only affected the next couple of minutes of the game, and then nobody really cared about what your decision was. Mm-hmm. And you can do some pretty atrocious things as on the dark side.
Yeah,
you can just
because it's a game.
Kill people for no reason.
Okay.
I actually remember a part where you played the good side, and it was actually a horrible decision where you had a couple that was showing affection to each other, and choosing the light side meant that you told your superiors that they're having a relationship, which was forbidden in the Jedi Academy.
Yeah. And
I remember choosing the light side and was like, what? This is not fair. I don't agree to that. No. People should have the right for relationships.
Okay, but this is within the game, so we're accepting that you can do it, but you can do unsocial behavior and stuff, even kill somebody in GTA, no problem at all. It's a game, it's fun. It's part of the fun to do some headshots. But if you're watching TV and movie in a narrative, does gamifying TV is the same as playing games, video games, or it's something else which imply on your persona and your moral, because it's more passive, or it's like, it's in your living room?
I wouldn't go and say that people on TV would make a decision based on their true persona. I would actually think that the same curiosity, like when you go and watch a movie, you say like, okay, I'm curious about it. Mm-hmm. I want to see what it's going to be.
Okay.
For example, if you go and watch the Untergang, the last few days of Hitler in the bunker, it doesn't mean you're a Nazi.
Right.
Or you're driven by some curiosity, and sometimes all we want is to be part of this movie, and having our decision affect the movie or the show. I think that it's great power. It allows you to recognize what's going to be what's going to be the repercussion of your decisions. A good example is The Walking Dead, also by Telltale. No matter what decision you made, in the end you realize that your decision mean nothing, because if the zombie jumps on the person that you worked so hard to build a relationship with, that person is going to die.
Okay,
and no matter what you decide, people will die.
Yeah, of course. I agree with you totally. But the question is, does the ability to gamify shows within Netflix, the UI, the embedded UI within Netflix, does it afford the platform, the manager or the one in charge in the big data, to analyze the user. It's like an engagement trap that engage you with gamified element, and then we can learn about you, your psychological self, your psychological persona. It's not a game, because within the game there's a written rule or unwritten rule in which say that the game designers wouldn't take it to do marketing, target marketing, and stuff.
Yeah, but again, I think we will go to, if they are going to implement some sort of monitoring on those decisions, it would have to be anonymous and similar, like in normal games where you don't see that says, okay, Hanan, you decided to kill the cat, and Ziv, you decided to kill the dog. They would show you have decided something that 63% of the people chose as well. Or 43% of the people decided not to kill the cat.
So is it a wishful thinking, or is just like, or what really happens within this company? This companies, like example like Facebook, and which bring me to Sesame credit of China. So if you behave like according to the code of ethics and the law of the country, you are treated better than the one that don't behave correctly or according to the society rules. This question just bother me. I mean, it bother me, but as as a gaming expert, and we're trying to behave and to manifest the ethical code. On we don't want gambling, and we don't want to hurt people, and we want to. On the other hand, we want to give them chance to grow. To master, to become better. So it's like, how do you say, חרפיפיות באנגלית?
It's a two-bladed sword.
Exactly.
But all of it is basically a two-bladed sword. Like when you talk about, say for example that people play violent games. Mm-hmm. There's always this talk about people play violent games and they become violent outside.
No, I don't think
that's the case.
Issue. Yeah, I mean, this is in the public, but we know as a researcher, this is not the case. This is not the case by 100%. This is a myth.
So the same thing will go to Netflix. If 90% suddenly decide, yes, we don't like, we don't like the Black Panther and we kill it. Does it mean that there is bigotry against,
No, it doesn't mean.
Colored people?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I just think that it's like it's a question that we need to ask ourselves when we give our privacy on our decision-making tree within this kind of new experience. I mean, this is brand new. Just Netflix came to like millions of TV in each salon, in each iPad or whatever. This is a question that we need to take account. Just making a point.
Of course, I think that would be just interesting to analyze and then come out with what content compel people more. And actually, and like in the past, TV can be a way to promote other ideas.
Yeah, of course. Mm-hmm.
Like a great show of Gene Roddenberry that influenced tolerance and acceptance and a hopeful future.
Yeah, great. So what do you think would be the future of gaming in, let's say, 2030? Where we are heading with this gaming and gamification?
Well, I can't possibly say about games in terms of what will happen in 15 years, but I would like to see games along the way of how Sword Art Online portrayed it, like an MMO where you basically... it's immersive. You interact with complete avatar of other people, where they can actually see your sensations, your behaviors, as if you were talking to a person in front of you. And I'm not talking like in a way that separate. Like in Sword Art Online, they, as much as they interact with each other in the game, they also interact in social life, and they become friends through a way that wasn't possible before. Mm-hmm. I'm moving to Denmark in 2 weeks, and
good luck with that.
Most of the people I know there, most of the people I know there, I actually know from games, and we went together to Paris.
Yeah, so this is amazing.
Those friends, those people I wouldn't have known them if it wasn't through games. And I know people from Sweden and from Spain, from the UK, and from Austria, and from even Singapore.
So first of all, let me explain. First of all, you were virtual bodies, I mean, virtual avatar, virtual friend within the Guild of World of Warcraft or other games. So you became very bonded socially, and then the virtual came out to the real world, and you became friend. I mean, you were friend in the virtual, and it's like, עוד פעם מחלחל in Hebrew, and it just went to the real life as a natural thing. Yeah, amazing. This is really amazing.
Yeah, it opens a whole new world. Yeah, I'm
Polish or English as well.
From Denmark, so I get to.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah,
so good of luck in your stay and work in Denmark. This is amazing. Actually, we've been together in Denmark. It was very fun to have, you have you as my guest in the Gameful Design Center. Yeah, in the Design Center in DAC in Denmark. The Gamification workshop and lecture. It was fun to have you. Okay, Ziv, so let's talk about the iClick, about what iClick does with gamifying the experience of waiting, or gamifying the experience in businesses and also for people or / kids need treatment.
Yeah. Basically, iClick has a device that they hang on ceiling and they project on surfaces. And surfaces that are usually unused or not constantly being used. A good example in restaurant, they project on tables. Mm-hmm. Table basically is used only for like 10, 15 minutes of eating and drinking, say like McDonald's, Burger King, and so on. But what do you do in the meantime? Mm-hmm. You come, you order you have your order, you sit down, you eat, and some of us, especially if people eat, the very, very big lunches that you can have in a fast food restaurant, you have like 15 minutes where you have to relax. So why not provide the kids with something fun to do? So they can open a virtual menu that is on the table. They can play a game. You don't have to maintain, you don't have to clean it like in some restaurants where they have tablets with games or interactive panels where you always press, and just imagine all this ketchup and grease on the device. So this one, just you work on it on the table, just play with it. Even if it's a little bit dirty, somebody can come and just wipe it, and that's it, like 2 seconds. They get to move. If they have the device that projects on the floor, the kids can just like run around, play like a whack-a-mole with mice that come out of cheese, or play soccer, or protect the castle from dragons, and like.
And it's not interfering with the experience of the other people of which are dining or whatever, doing other stuff. It's not in the...
Yeah, and they can actually be, they interact with other kids. Instead of just, it's not like I'm sitting and take the phone and just play with the phone. No, come and play with the other kids. There are like 4 kids over there playing soccer. Join them. Make a team. The tables are in the zones where you eat. The table is in the zone where you eat, and there is actually a button that close the games and put them like a small circle. And only when you press the circle, then everything opens up and you can continue playing.
So there's a separate between you can change because you don't want to interfere with other people that eat beside you. Okay, right?
Yeah, so if suddenly if like a couple of other people that don't want to play sitting next to the table, they can just close it, and that's it. It wouldn't bother them.
Yeah, interesting.
And same goes for small businesses like dentists.
Oh,
dentists always have this.
Ouch, dentist. Okay, ouch, dentist. Yeah. Okay.
Just imagine. I mean. Waiting in a dentist room, I think sometimes it's even scarier than going into the dentist because the treatment at the dentist is pretty quick. But imagine for 30 minutes hearing this all the time.
The hearing. I mean, this is, for me, waiting in the dentist room is like, in the zone of unclarity. And you don't know what's going to happen next. You hear different voices, maybe other kids scream or whatever. And you know what the best thing to do when you're waiting in uncertainty? According to research...
Play a game.
Yeah, play Tetris. If you play Tetris, it actually focuses you, and then it affects your brain in such a way that it's focus you on the game, and you forget for a few seconds about the trouble and exciting.
Yeah, it clears the input, it reduces the senses, and helps reduce stress.
So this is interesting. So they're playing iClick and then Tetris and then go to the dentist. This is amazing. So and how about the thing in the hospital for kids with cancer?
Well, I personally did make sure that the system works properly, but so I'm not familiar if there was any research about it. But I just look at what the customers release, because we don't go and ask our customers, if you have anything good to say, go ahead and say. We have like testimonials when customers just say, okay, I really enjoyed this product. Actually, one of the first emails that I received in iClick, I keep it till today, because it just says that kids are crying when it's time to go home.
Oh my God! Wow,
like
such moving. Yeah.
Wow.
Going away crying, going from home from treatment, like from oncology treatment.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. This is really amazing.
The best.
This is really amazing. Amazing. The way that games so powerful that can really enhance you and empower you in such a way, first of all, disconnect you from trouble, like escapism, something like that. But moreover, gives you strength and abilities. Which reminds me, the first game in which we studied, I think I presented it in one of the lesson way back, it was Ben's game. Kid named Ben. He was like 9 years old. He came across Atari developer. They developed what they called Ben's game, in which you as a kid surfing on a surfer, fighting on top of the membrane, of the cancer cell, you're fighting against them. And it was very successful among kids. So it's really interesting to see that games today are also playing a major role in helping kids accommodate or, להתמודד.
Well, it helps them deal and give them some sense of victory. And we all struggle to reach that placebo effect, where the treatment for the sole purpose of a treatment has a positive effect when it comes to recovery from illnesses, and especially illnesses which are very, very difficult to recover from. And giving these kids, like a small victory, giving them a better sensation.
Yeah,
it was even
epic with victory.
Yes, about 6 months ago there was a clip of. When you go to the nurse to get your shot, they put a virtual reality game on you. You get like the headset with the either Oculus or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Oculus Rift, I think.
And there is this avatar that comes to you and says, "Okay, I'm gonna put a special power shield on you or something like that." And she just touches. Yeah. And the moment the avatar touches is when the nurse injects the vaccine.
Yeah.
And the kid, like a majority of the kids, didn't feel anything.
Didn't feel anything because he was focused on the game. Wow. Yeah, focus the attention.
So it becomes empowering on a thing that we always just consider a very unpleasant thing. I mean, even when I go to get the cold shot, I just look in one direction. I say, okay, nurse, take my hand, just stick the needle, and I don't want to know about it.
This is going to be another trend, a very interesting trend to follow, in which the gaming industry moving into the health and well-being of people in the coming years. Breaking news just coming up as we speak. Chuzesco publishing behind books series Choose Your Own Adventure, suing Netflix for the movie Bandersnatch of Black Mirror. Chuzesco, this is the company, demands at least $25 million for bad use of the brand. I mean, this is just came up now. The rights, copyrights of books and TV. This brings me to the final question: who controls the content? We talk about content in the MMO. We talk about content, the narrative and the story within game, which is very important. But the survey, which done several weeks ago, claimed that game developers and gamers themselves want to own their own content. And they want to be able to own it and to sell it and to move it between world and platforms. And for that, we have blockchain. So do you think we're going to see more like it, like a really good solution for combination of blockchain and gaming asset for gamers and for developers?
Well, first of all, we need to know, it needs to be determined who owns the content. I mean, when my character in World of Warcraft, like, built their own storyline, made their own decisions, it is basically something that I created. I use the existing principles of the existing tools of the game, but I created this character. I decided that this character would go to certain places, perform different deeds, choose their own path.
I can give you another example. Can give you even better example. You know Fortnite. Fortnite is one of the biggest games now in the market with over $3 billion. They have their own creative mode now, and then you can have your own mode in the block, and people can come and play your game. So people want to own it. This is an example. So it's interesting to see if the industry is ready to give the players the right or ownership of copyright, because we invest so much time and so much energy and so much money. I mean, time is equal money in the game. So I think it's a genuine request. It's a genuine call, request from gamer and also from developers. Like 65% of all game developers agree that they want to give royalties to the players and ownership, because they say that this will bring more player. If you earn and you make profit from it, this will bring on to your game even more gamers, making it more sticky.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
It's a really challenging question. It first of all needs to be handled legally. There's a couple of, I mean, again, it all comes down to who owns what, where it begins. If I provide you a certain tool for content, the game is a tool for content, it's not the content itself, and you build the content, then you are the owner of the content, but you also promote my platform. So it's a whole new relationship, and I suppose the blockchain is also the medium that allows this kind of transaction, because nothing else in today's currency.
Yeah, it afforded.
No, nothing today's currency can afford it or sustain it, because if I go and I transfer $1,000 to your bank account, it's just $1,000. It's not a blockchain is actually trading in data, in switching profiles. Like at the moment, I can't give you I would be in violation of the term of use of any game if I give you my access code.
Yeah, actually, people.
But if I give you.
Yeah, actually, people are selling the avatars and accounts on top of hacking.
Yeah, but if the company finds out that you sold your account for say 700 euros, you will be banned from that product, and there is nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, of course.
You can go cry and ask and pay another account. No, you will be rejected.
Yeah.
So this actually allows us to switch to trading content. Like I give you my avatar, you get your avatar, and then I don't have to work so much to create. Say I'm choosing a wizard and you're choosing a warrior, and then we swap.
Yeah. Do you recall Second Life, in which I spent many years?
Of course.
We had an avatar, we had a company, we had our own offices, virtual office in 3D, we have client stuff, and then we have Linden coins, which was the first, I think, one of the first virtual coins which you can switch to real money, real dollars. And then they changed the regulation. They then decided it's not profitable for us anymore because we were more education oriented. And then all your investment, like several years, just in a click of a button, just boom, went away. It was like losing, a relative. It wasn't easy.
I really hope, like, this is just, a personal dream of me. I really hope for an end to WoW that is going to be like some Hall of Fame. To World of Warcraft. Like Hall of Fame, like, a big raid, and afterward, like 6 months later, then say, okay, this is it. All of you go into a Hall of Fame. You can still access your character, but you won't be able to do anything. But I keep feeling that, because it's such a big money funnel, that it would just, it would die out. They just say, okay, we don't do any more content, and that's it. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Like, and then just, like you said, poof, disappears.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's teleport to Overwatch. Blizzard Overwatch, yeah.
Yeah, like, that's it.
Another game, yeah. Dota game, more like, yeah. Okay, Ziv,
you
it
remember
was...
in the...
Yeah?
Just remembering how excited I was in the old days when we had like those Quests for Glory, for example. You can transfer the character from one game to the other.
Yeah, wow.
And you were so happy that you could just transfer it. I mean, what were we talking about? Like you can just play for 3 hours in the new game and you reach the same level and the same skills and even better.
Yeah.
Oh no, I want this character, the one that actually played the first game. I want this one that did all the quests.
Yeah.
Because
I want
this
to be the
new
first.
character...
I want to do the challenge, of course. I want to level up. This is level up and do the challenge and curious. Yeah, this is all what manifest and what make us gamers so enlightened with new games and also disappointed if the game companies are disappointing us. Okay, so I think the future is very interesting, at least for 2019 and also to 2030 within gaming, gamification, and the gamers in between. Ziv, I wish to thank you very much for your participation. It was really a treat, real passion. I wish you all the best in your new position in Denmark. Let's keep on the connection up. Till next time, game on.
Yeah, indeed, game on. And as you say, in Denmark, vistis, which is like see you.
Yeah, great.
We should see each other again, yes.
Yeah, sure. Okay, bye-bye. See you.
Yeah. Bye, thank you.
Thank you, bye-bye.
הפרק בחסות ג'ולות אינטראקטיב. עוזרים לארגונים, חברות הייטק, יזמים וסטארט-אפים לשלב פתרונות גמיפיקציה מתקדמים לשיפור תוצאות.
ג'ולות אינטראקטיב, עסקים משחקים להצלחה. Start Play Your Life. גם בפייסבוק.